Hello students, this is Dr. Ranjini, Assistant Professor in Biotechnology. Welcome to e-learning sessions in immunology. Today in this session, we learn immunological aspects of viral, bacterial and parasitic infection. First we'll take up the immunological aspects of viral infection. The interactions between viruses and the host immune system are not only complex and fascinating but also critical in determining the outcome of infection and strategies for its prevention. With all other pathogens, viruses share the qualities of being complex, replicating immunogens that stimulate both cellular and humoral immune responses, which then influence the outcome of the infection. Viruses may persist as a latent infection with or without intermittent replication. Example, in case of herpes simplex virus, or as a chronic infection, example HIV or hepatitis C virus. Viral genomes may be maintained either by integration into the host genome, as you see in case of immunodeficiency syndrome, that is HIV, or independently within the cell, for example herpes simplex virus, because viruses parasitize cellular metabolic processes during their own replication. They have a unique capacity to directly alter cell structure and function. Viruses also carry genes that are dispensable for replication in cell culture, but which may play critical roles for in vivo pathogenesis. These virulence factors act by modulating either host immune responses or by cell division and apoptosis. The generation of host immune responses can be inhibited, or the effect of those responses on virus infected cells can be blunted. Viruses also augment their replication by retarding apoptosis and regulating cell division. The role of these viral proteins in pathogenesis is currently a topic of intense investigation. The immune response to viral infections involves both humoral and cell mediated components. Antibody to a viral receptor can block viral infections of host cells. However, a number of viruses, including influenza, are able to mutate their receptor molecules and thus evade or invade the humoral antibody response. Once a viral infection has been established, the cell mediated immunity appears to be more important than humoral immune response. Human immunodeficiency virus is otherwise called as HIV. The major immunological features includes, this is a type of lentivirus or retrovirus having RNA as the genetic material. This group of viruses produces diseases with a long latency, long dormancy period, and are adept at evading the immune system. They are RNA retroviruses with a relatively complex and tightly compressed genome, and many virions or the viral proteins are generated by RNA splicing and cleavage by viral proteases. CD4 cells of immune system, including T lymphocytes, then monocytes, macrophages, dendritic cells and Langerhans cells, infected progressive global defects of humoral and cell mediated immunity. Especially the CD4 cells are attacked by this virus. T lymphocytes depleted polyclonal activation of B lymphocytes with increased immunoglobulin production. Disease progression despite vigorous humoral and cell-mediated response to viral infection. With HIV results in severe impairment of immune function, and it is identified by depletion of the CD4 cells. The T cells and death from opportunistic infection, usually within 10 years of infection. Treatment of HIV infection is by antiretroviral drugs, can cause lowering of viral load and relief from infection. But this is temporary and no cure have been documented yet. This is regarding the aspects of infection which takes place when viral infection onsets in our body. Next we will move on to the immunological aspects of bacterial infection. The membrane attack complex formed by complement activation can lyse gram-negative bacteria, parasites, viruses, erythrocytes and even nucleated cells. The influx and activation of macrophages in the DTH response, delayed type hypersensitivity response, is important in host defense against parasites and bacteria that live within cells. These antibodies eliminate most of the parasites from the bloodstream, both by complement mediated lysis and by opsonization. Opsonization means the infected cells surrounded by opsonins like antibody, and rate of phagocytosis will be increased, and subsequent phagocytosis. The immune response to extracellular bacterial infection is generally mediated by antibody. Antibody can induce localized production of immune effector molecules of the complement system, thus facilitating development of an inflammatory response. Antibody can also activate complement mediated lysis of the bacterium, neutralize toxins and serve as an opsonin to increase phagocytosis. Some bacteria secrete protease enzymes that cleave IgA dimers, thus reducing the effectiveness of immunoglobulin A in mucus secretions. Other bacteria escape phagocytosis by producing surface capsules, thick capsules or proteins that inhibit adherence of the bacteria to the phagocytes. By secreting toxins that kill phagocytes or by their ability to survive within phagocytes. Host defense against intracellular bacteria depends largely on CD4 T lymphocytes. Immunity to bacterial infection is mediated both by cellular and humoral mechanisms. Bacteria express many different surface antigens and secrete a variety of virulence factors that may trigger immune responses. The three principal types of immunity to bacteria include: the first is immunity to toxigenic bacterial infections, that means against exotoxins and endotoxins by the bacteria. The bacterial exotoxins and endotoxins are important in pathogenesis of specific diseases. Exotoxins are the sole virulence factor in certain toxigenic bacterial infections, and immunity directed against these toxins can completely prevent disease. The second method is the encapsulated bacteria, immunity to encapsulated bacteria. These organisms evade phagocytosis by coating themselves with polysaccharide. They escape from the phagocytosis by producing the capsule. So, encapsulated bacteria may be gram positive or gram negative, and vaccines containing purified capsular antigens may generate protective immunity. The another one is intracellular bacteria. These bacteria avoid the host immune response because they grow inside the cells, particularly inside the cells which exhibit the phagocytosis. The same invasive mechanism is used by many fungal and parasitic pathogens. Cellular immunity mediated by macrophages that are activated by specific lymphocytes and their products is the critical mode of host defense against this group of bacteria. So we should see how the cellular and humoral immunity gets activated by a toxin secreted by bacteria, encapsulated bacteria and intracellular bacteria. Now we will move on to the immunological aspects of parasitic infection. Here also both humoral and cell mediated immune responses have been activated in immunity to protozoan infections. In general, humoral antibody is effective against blood-borne stages of protozoans, but once protozoans have infected host cell, cell mediated immunity is necessary. Protozoans escape the immune response through several mechanisms. Helminths are large parasites that normally do not multiply within cells because few of these organisms are carried by an affected individual. Immune system exposure to helminths is limited. Consequently, only low level of immunity is induced. Although helminths generally are attacked by antibody mediated defenses, these may be ineffective. A cell mediated response by CD4 cells play a critical role in response to schistosoma. Parasitic diseases such as malaria, schistosomiasis and leishmaniasis are among the most important health problems in developing countries. Immune responses to complex antigenic structures of parasites have diverse manifestations and do not always lead to complete protective immunity. Parasites have diverse manifestations and do not always lead to complete protective immunity. And in case of parasites with complex life cycles, multiple states if they are exhibiting, and often they will have the multiple hosts and vectors. Not only can each stage of parasite prevent multiple antigenic targets, but more than one stage may be present in host at a given time. Furthermore, parasite infections are chronic, often persisting for years, even decades. Unfortunately, as is often the case with infectious diseases, the immune response to parasites can even produce more serious diseases than the parasite itself. Examples are hepatic granulomas of schistosomiasis, antigen antibody complex glomerulonephritis in malaria, and another one is antibody mediated anaphylactic shock from ruptured cyst or from too rapid killing of filarial infection. Some of the most fascinating and perplexing aspects of parasitic diseases are the variety of mechanisms by which the parasite evades the immune response. A parasite can hide within the host's own cell, as in case of leishmaniasis, produce successive waves of progeny with different surface antigens, as in African trypanosomiasis, or disguise itself as a self molecule or self with host antigens, as occurs in schistosomiasis. Non-specific immunosuppression due to variety of stimuli is characteristic of number of parasitic infections. The ability of parasites to adapt to the host environment is the essence of successful parasitism, and it increases immeasurably the difficulty of developing immunization procedures against parasitic infection. The majority of human mount significant IgE responses only as defense against parasitic infections. Their level will be increased. After an individual has been exposed to parasite, the serum IgE levels increase and remain high until parasite is successfully cleared from the body. The release of eosinophil derived mediators may play a protective role in parasitic infections. Some parasites disguise themselves to look like the host by coating with the host specific antigens. So in this session we learned the immunological aspects towards bacterial, viral and parasitic infection. I hope you understood. Thank you.